Hello, this is an ongoing investigation and privately done. It goes into history. First of all, I want to say it is private and it is something that could develop and that will develop hopefully, because I'm looking into it for quite a time. This is today, and for proof I show you some headlines of today. And it is not only about Europe, but about America as well. And we have shortly after midnight, the whole day I was looking around and trying to find some facts that could explain the traces I have, first of all, in my memory, and then secondly, a little bit in papers and written memories, but mostly it is that what I myself learned, and I learned it by experience. This was something in the garden. It is now 50 years ago, and I was there being photographed, and we had a visitor lady. She was one of the three that took care of me. I was nearly a baby, but not. Is that me, I hope? Yes, I got extra clothes. Sometimes they were sent back afterwards. That comes back to my memory right now, that when being photographed it was done so other people I did not know could see how I looked like at the time. And it is about an old day or a whole period when the borders were different in Germany. And now found something I want to show you. It is still a conclusion, not 100% sure, but I would give it more than 80%. I've written it down so you can look it up, stopping the video. And as I said before, this I have as a sure storytelling from my mother. And sorry, this is uncut, and this is my mother. Something fell down, and I do it deliberately, uncut, and without thinking too much, only telling you what 100% is sure, because if I do so, I got in trouble, or I will get in trouble. This was the date of his rebirth. On one occasion, my mother said to me, when I first met your father, she mostly said, your great father. In German it is the same as grandfather, and he was a big role model for me, because of things others were not told about. This is an reenactment, and this should have been Karl, the father of my father. But it is a reenactment. My mother said the negotiations were nearly not there. This is Versailles. It was said they were invited, and it was a quick order and sign thing, but even that was not 100% sure when she gave it to me as an information. So I would give that, I don't know, 60%. The official version was that it was a negotiation and after that assignment, so I'm not sure about that. But sure is, this is a document, and it is with an official state stamp. And she once said, when I first met him, that is him, my father Fritz Johann, I have officially, as a working model, this man as my raising father, and I myself knew there was something special, but as a little child you were interested in that, what was, is it recording right now? Yes, you are interested in what is happening right now. I had a mother, then I had, for example, when you were bathed in the bath once a day as a baby, then there was another, so I had two, mostly one, and then came mother. I abbreviated her E.I.M, Elsie, and so on, all Christian names. She gave me a bath as well, and she asked me what the others were saying. And there was a little baby, but I had learned to talk, and I did not know where it was. It was on another place. I knew back then, from the beginning, there were people with another color, skin color, and the nurse, I think she was married with one. I think she had 3 children of her own, and she was getting in trouble because she was thinking too much about me. She told me that, and I was that little. She said, you now have grown a little bit, but you were not much bigger than a handful, than a hand. But this is memory now, because looking on things, it comes back. It was totally out of mind, but being triggered with things and giving much energy in it, it comes back that there was something not told me in words, but active. And one of the 3 investigators, I am full of hope, or I hope that I can be, that I can tell you more about it. I met Mr. Hitchcock, or let me say, someone who said he was Mr. Hitchcock, and that was his artist name. But I want to tell you about the documents. And his mother, this is his father, Karl. He might well have been, and I think that I would give 99%, because no one contradicted, but someone was here from, he said it, I think he was from the United States. He was, I had daycaring mothers and fathers, and sometimes I thought sisters were also not being somewhere else, and instead others wanted to be my sisters or my brothers. So there were different kind of brothers. This is a conclusion. How many, or how sure, how many percentage, or how sure would I say this was the place? I can only remember not much about it. I saw it from the inside. I could, there's a cursor. I could look from inside out. I saw the blinds on the windows being closed. I think there were little spots, in German, Jalousien, in between. I can remember that, but I don't know how much I would give. It could have been the house of my mother. Here she is looking deliberately, asking, in an asking figure. It's a figure of speech, I think. She deliberately did it. She was involved in helping immigrants toward the United States. They moved from a German state to America, and there they had trouble, and they gave reports to a teacher, I think, or someone being there as a helper in German, Erzieher. And he said to her, the group of people I'm related to, they are writing back, but they do not want to ask directly, but she could pass it on, and because of that, three ladies put things together, and hospital was built, and that was raised. It was built on top, and then on top again. And this could be the birth hospital. It should have a helicopter landing spot. That I can't remember because I was inside the belly, but someone said it to me. Was starting when I was shown to the birth mother, and she was putting something on my elbow. This name was put, this is the writing of my mother, was put there. She couldn't go there alone. She had to wait till the father came back, that is him, and then they went to the office, and there they looked into the pergaments or into the documents and put this writing. There are many other entries, but I show only this one, and this means he passed away. And this could have been related to the passing away of the Emperor Wilhelm II. But I'm not totally sure. He was somehow involved in the guarding into the security, and that had been their business, among others. When you look at the map of the world, here is where Silesia is located. I think there it is. This is America, as we know, and they had been, I don't know if they had been with the tribe or the branch. I think it was a branch, that settled, I think, in Texas. And then there was the Civil War to abolish slavery. And I must have a look if I glued it together to make maps to show you. This is the United States, and I think I will show it later in other videos as well. And this is a map that shows where the Negroes, this is for Negro, where the black people mostly are settled or were settled. Then it is I think differentiated in English, where others mostly were settled. The Chinese, they have this color. They are more on the east coast, no, the west coast. This is the east coast. And this is Canada from here, and this nowadays Mexico. This is important as well. I need your support if you like. And this is first of all to the Petrarch family, because looking into that many traces, that is time consuming. It goes also into that time after World War II. Because the history that I think I can now give that more than 60%, that Fritz, my father, he was in the United States when his father, Karl, was giving service, being asked to help in the Civil War. And I do not know exactly on which side they were serving, but this is nearly sure. And back there, not back, on the other side of the ocean, he might have been. This is not 100% sure, because I was shown the place where General Custer had a house. It was on the prairie in the north. And there he had a housekeeper, and that housekeeper was called a wife, and it was for her security. And I now want to show you again. Yesterday the video was not working right. I now found out that the similarities of those pictures found on Wikipedia, I don't know how much percentage or credibility I would give this picture, but in the oral tradition, he was wanting to clean the past of his tribe, and he was confessing on his own motives what has gone wrong. And then someone had to sit in prison, and I think this one started the prison term, and he was writing Karl May. But he, and you can look it up for yourself, he was General Custer. Is he only a look-alike? I think they're the same. So he was a traveled man, or a traveling man, and I think it was according to the rightful law of the times. All over the world there was the basic law that was acknowledged. Then there was the international law of habits in the merchandise or in the merchants realm, and I was once asked, could it be him, your grandfather? And I couldn't answer because back then, being a child, there were so many legions that did not even match. Because you can't be on both places at the same time. And now I understand that he then had a holiday from prison, and then someone else, a lookalike, a serviceman to the chief, was going to sit in prison the rest of the term. And this is not in place right now. I think that has stopped. And now I look on this picture. This is the year when she passed away from this earth. My mother, the elder, she is the real birth and biological mother, and she had the wish to be a mother herself because of operational, I have not found documents to that, of her operational surgery disaster or something going wrong very, very much. She could not have children, but the tissues were preserved, and then doctors helped her to perceive a child herself. But that was trouble again, and then she was helped by her daughter, my biological mother as well. But I do not want to go into deep explaining, because first it's private, but I must tell a little bit, otherwise you won't understand. Because to the outside world, 22 minutes, she was the pedagogical mother. We did not tell too much to the neighbors. I think the family was very close because there was still opposition from the role, the character of Third Reich resistance. And that resistance was not very much liked, and he was resigning in the army. But then, before the Russian war, in I don't know exactly if it was 40 or 41, he was resigning as a chief. And it must be him that was maligned by the other German generals, because he was very small in comparison, and he was from an Eastern German tribe. He was not even fully recognized of being German, but I think he was. It was inside of the German military, still opposition between the different federal states. He was on the Prussian side, but before they had their settlement area also in the Austrian area. So he was, of course, German, Pauline had decided to go on the German side, and then she was having trouble with her relatives who stayed on the Baltic or on the Welsh side. I hope that is the right translation. Here it is again, the document with my commentary. This name could well be, I could put this off, there's the number of the document, but I'm cautious, because thinking like a detective, a private detective, I think there are motives to let me be in the dark. This could have been solved if state officials would have wanted it, and I have the problem right now, but I hope this is not deliberately. I was special not because I wanted to be special, but I was put in that place. To the other that were raised with me, there was contact on the kitchen table. The mother, here is she, or daycare mother, there were lookalikes. They were raising us pedagogically, and we were ordered. I was ordered to sit there. I can remember that she even said how I should look into the camera. Those were the parents, and I think those were real ones, not their carers. And I was not pleased that at weekends it was daycare mothers and fathers were there, and I was not explained why that was happening. So I need some help to look into it, because it is not only concerning the family, it goes, and I'm sure, to America. That is me at the age when I was a visitor with a travelsman. And this is the time axis, or the timeline, and it really could go back. I have estimated the birth date of my father even back to 1862, but this is maybe too far in the century before the last century. But he was very old, and my mother was too. Here she is. If you could look into it, if she is Aunt B of Mayberry Show. Of course, later she said someone else took over her character. That has to be taken into consideration. So I'm not saying this is the man in the Austrian Empire. Was he considered to be an Austrian man because Silesia had its settlement in the so-called Silesian territory, and before the time when World War I was over, there was a little bit going beyond this new border. And how much percentage I would give this movie, Woman in the Moon, this I give 100%, because she said she was training, she was exercising to climb that ladder. And she did not know who would play the character of the professor, but she said, and that was underlined by emotions, when she saw his wrist, his hand, she knew it was Fritz, and she was safe. So, I want to look into it, and hopefully, and this has to do with it as well, but this was contradicted. Could it be that both Elsie and Fritz, they were both on the, I don't know exactly what evangelical church it was. It was not a gypsy church, but it was sometimes called that name because many of the travelsmen were with it. And this I had shown yesterday when the video was having problems. This is centuries ago. There the scapegoat in the Jewish population, and this is from an historical map collection, and that happened even worse in the Third Reich. This is from an reenactment. This is not the real Emperor's daughter, this is a reenactment. I can still remember that in, or at the beginning of the 70s, there had been a movement to make those old movies, to remember the old times. This is me, being 4 or 5 years old. I'm not showing it because I'm that important, but because I'm looking into people of the United States who can remember me being a visitor. And this is my mother again looking deliberately. I said, I want to make that photograph. She said, I'm not looking good anymore. I'm that old, in German gebrechlich. But I said, I need that to start looking into it. I can't do it right now because people are contradicting. They were saying, I now think falsely, she was having dementia. This was described. How many percentage I give that? I can't say for sure. It could have been another lady on the same ship, on the same vessel. But she said, my mother said, she was being a very exercised lady, being young. And why was I not looking into it earlier? This was a trap. I had constant night shift, and it was the time between 1994 till 09, and after that there was a not functional retraining program paid by state insurance, and because of that doctors came and assessed me wrongly. I underline that. They explain me my having troubles with my character. I think that cannot be true. For me it was not my knowledge that people knew about our history. That could be the trap, the real trap. Others could have known and me not. What is with this visitor from Vancouver, Canada? Who is he? He said he was wanting to make me his successor. Now I understand. He could well have been someone administering what was already my mother's, and then logically mine. So please, if you like, have a look, and maybe next time I will explain why this man was somehow someone I saw when this newspaper article was written. But that is not something out of the ordinary, because in the diplomatic corps my mother had to do with many of the European kings and their countess or other noblemen. That was normal. They were the diplomats of European powers. So if this man was among them, that was not extraordinary. But now I put pieces together, and this is from Wikipedia, And it was 1977 I put things together and understand if she was a diplomat, then she was in service, but she was explaining it a little bit different with well-chosen words. She must have been, for security reasons, for life-threatening reasons, undercover because of threats from the aristocratic powers. But this is how many percentage? This is what she said. She once had a law case, not known if it was an official one, so I would give it more than 90%, maybe more than 95%. This must be sure that she was in resistance to the aristocratic nobleman system. I call that nobleman system right now. And I want to stop with that, but not without showing you and me as again, my other mother, the younger. With her help I could be born, but she did not say she was the birth mother. I think both are, and this is in the papers on different places. And here in this town the elder was officially the mother, but to the outside world it was the younger. So we had a working model, and it was never of importance because it was working. But now there's quietness on the state side, and I do not accept that, especially when those are sending doctors to make me unfit. And this is really important, and I show it so you could donate if you like. But it is something I would undergo nevertheless. But you understand, a car is not moving if there's no gasoline, so please help me. And I thank you very much. Till next time. Bye.